Hello everyone, today I bring you the final round 7 of Festival dos Galitos, and this was a very important game for me because I was fighting for third place in the tournament, and that would actually come with quite a big prize money. But yeah, let's see how the game went. I was playing with the black pieces against Volodymyr Bandrivsky. I don't know if I mispronounced that. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's a bit below my rating, 1472 elo rated. And yeah, I was just very motivated, very excited, and you know, very confident that I could win this game and go on to have a really good placement in the tournament. So let's see how the game started. My opponent opened with d4, which I was expecting, d5, c4, e6, and here my opponent played g3, and I was like, oh my god, this motherfucker just played g3 only because he saw my game against Samuel from round 3, I think. Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, this dude, bro, is actually smart. Actually, well played by my opponent here to try to punish me. Uh, a few episodes ago, I think it was round 3 of this tournament. I will leave it up here somewhere in a card. You can check that game out. I played against a 2000 player and I got absolutely destroyed in a Catalan. I knew no theory, or I didn't even know where to put my pieces, and I just got absolutely crushed. And the games that I saw online from my opponent, he always played like d4, c4, but with knight c3, and he went into these QGD type positions against d5, e6. But here, I mean, the games were being broadcasted, the top ports were being broadcasted, and my opponent probably saw that I had no idea how to play the Catalan. And I still didn't really have much time between during the tournament to be checking the Catalan out, but I saw some moves. I saw more or less what I was supposed to do. So let's see what type of position I got. Um, okay, I go knight f6. My opponent goes bishop g2 and bishop b4 check. Knight bd2, and this is exactly how I know that my opponent saw my game against Samuel, because I mean, knight bd2, it's actually a rare move. Normally people go bishop d2, and I never seen him play this. He probably prepared exactly for me, so okay. But here I don't know what I did. I think in my game against Samuel I played bishop e7, or I played castles followed by bishop e7, which is kind of weird. Here I castled again, knight f3, and here instead of going bishop e7, which is a very weird move that doesn't make much sense, here I played the main move b6, and maybe he got surprised because I actually did some like little study. I just really saw that I had to play b6 in that position, and that was about it. So yeah, this is actually a good line that has been played by Carlson, Caruana, Ding. So yeah. But okay, here my pawn castled. I went bishop e7, queen c2 here, and yeah, we are already not following a theory here. I think 95 is the main move here, according to the computer, followed by b3 as well. But my pawn goes queen c2, makes sense, and I go knight bd7, also makes perfect sense. Rook fd1, and here I play rook c8. Okay, seems balanced so far. Here my opponent surprises me with a very weird move in my opinion, which was queen a4. I say that it's weird because my opponent is moving his queen a little bit too much, and uh, the principles and rules of chess say that you shouldn't really move the same piece twice in the opening, especially the queen, because it's probably your most important piece, and you should be careful not to lose her in the early stage of the game. And here, my opponent played queen c2, which okay may put some pressure on the c file, makes sense. Also connects, gives a possibility to connect the rooks in the later stages, but Then to move the queen from c2 to a4, it felt like a weird maneuver that doesn't really accomplish much. Okay, I guess I played a5, and after a3 by my opponent here, I took on d2, which is probably not the best. If I turn on the engine quickly, yeah, engine says bishop d6, and it kind of makes sense to keep the bishops on the board here. My opponent still has a little bit of hard time developing this bishop on c1. Game would probably follow, probably follow something like e4, takes, 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 knight g5, knight f6, and yeah, queen c2. We have a chess game in our hands. But yeah, I just said, you know what, let's just take, and my opponent took with a bishop, and you can see by the engine says that it's equal, so not a big deal to trade bishops there. And now I take on c4 here, and then I strike with c5. So I took on c4 first, because I wanted to lure the queen to the c file where my rook was placed, so I felt like this was a good move. So yeah, c4 takes, takes, c5. And here, honestly, you know, still is equal according to the engine, but I felt like pretty good about my position. I felt like this was a big success, and it is, because I definitely equalized, and my pieces are in great squares. My bishop on b7 is doing a fantastic job controlling this diagonal, which is normally one of the weakest you know, points against the Catalan. It's always how to develop the bishop. The light square bishop is always a bit annoying in the against the Catalan, but I managed to accomplish everything that I wanted in this opening. So I was feeling pretty nice. Also, time-wise, I think I had an advantage on the clock as well, so I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling confident. Bishop g5 here by my opponent, pinning the knight on f6. Here I played bishop d5 here. I could have played h6 as well, but okay, I played bishop d5. My opponent plays queen c3. Here I take on d4, trying to open this rook up. Also, I thought it was a nice move. My opponent takes with the queen, of course, and here I play rook c4, which is a little bit of a funny move, you know, attacking the queen. But I thought I was doing fantastic because you know, my rook is super active. My bishop is a monster here on d5, controlling the whole board. Okay, my knights are pinned, but you know, I'll move my queen somewhere, and then I'll put the other rook on the c file. I thought that I was in control of the game. Here my opponent played queen d2, and I quickly played queen a8, and I thought, man, I must be close to winning at this point, at least in terms of positionally, because, I mean, this diagonal, I'm putting a lot of pressure in this diagonal. My rook is super active on c4, the other rook is coming to c8. This bishop isn't doing much now that the queen is on a8, so yeah, I mean, his bishop pair is not really relevant in this position, I thought. And yeah, you know, here my opponent thought for quite a while, and I was already feeling my third place. I was already, okay, I got it, man. This surprise playing the Catalan by my opponent didn't pay off to him. But here, actually, my opponent you know, finds a very nice sequence that man, I completely missed. Honestly, I wasn't you know, I wasn't afraid of any combination. I didn't see anything. I was just feeling good. But here my opponent finds a nice sequence with bishop takes on f6, knight takes on f6, and now knight e5. And all of a sudden, my opponent just got rid of all his you know, opening problems here. As you can see, I mean, now I'm kind of forced to give up the initiative. I am forced to move my rook, unfortunately. And yeah, all of a sudden this diagonal is not gonna be strong because, you know, I'll lose a tempo with the rook, and yeah, this bishop is not gonna stay here for a long time. Also, my opponent also has his own pressure on the d file. This knight is very well placed on e5, so You know, in just two moves, even though the evaluation didn't change, I felt like really bad. Like, did I missed something? I felt like I missed something, and I was a bit frustrated because all of a sudden my opponent might be the one pressing for an advantage. And yeah, okay, props to my opponent. That was a very nice sequence, and I think let's go back here, and I think yeah, it was the best sequence. It was the best moves that he did. So yeah, for sure, well played by my opponent here. I thought briefly of taking on G2, but yeah, there's nothing here. I can't really play like this. My opponent is gonna play f3 if I don't move my bishop from here, and there's nothing. So I didn't sack the exchange. I played rook c7. My opponent took on d5. I took back on d5 with the knight. I think here queen takes is slightly better, but I didn't want to trade too many pieces to simplify the game. As I already said, I really wanted to win this game. It was really important for the tournament standings. It was almost like it was a must-win game if I wanted to get third place and get a trophy. So here I took with the knight. My opponent played e4, played knight back to f6, and my opponent played f3, defending the pawn on e4. And here I played h6. I was a little bit afraid of the back rank problems here, and yeah, at some point I would have to play this move, so I felt like, why not? Okay, let's just play h6 now, and I don't have to worry about the back rank later. My opponent plays rook ac1, contesting the c file. I play queen c8. I didn't want to play rook fc8 because I didn't want to allow a queen trade. So, for example, here my opponent could take on c7. I take back with the rook, and then he could trade queens like this. And I definitely didn't want to play this type of position because, I mean, it's easy for my opponent to make a draw here, or even to push for an advantage, probably, because this knight is way better than my knight. So probably if someone is better here, it's definitely white, and for sure, like, computer gives almost a +1 advantage to white here. So yeah, I definitely didn't want none of this. So I did play queen c8 here to not allow the queen trade. My opponent took on c7. I took back with the queen, and he played queen d6. Again, I don't want to trade queens because the endgame would be bad for me. Also, here, if I trade queens, he would be eating b6 with tempo, and nope, I'm not trading queens with you. Queen c2, very nice move, keeping the pressure on the pawn on b2, attacking the pawn on b2, looking at the rook, cutting off the king. Yeah, very nice move. Here my pawn plays rook d2, I play queen c1 check, king g2, and here I bring the other rook in finally to c8. And okay, I mean, it is quite a game here. There's a lot to play for both sides, and yeah, we both need to be careful to not allow any tactic. But yeah, equal still, 0-0s all over the board. Queen d3 here by my opponent, trying to play solid. I play b5. I mean, I just have to make something happen, if I want to win, I have to start creating some sort of imbalances because so far, I mean, if we look at the position, it's pretty symmetrical, and okay, I mean, yeah, his knight is very strong on e5. It's actually, probably I want to trade this knight at some point because it's just so strong. But my king, it's safer than this king. This king is a little bit opening because of f3, So I have some chances, but we both have chances. It's pretty balanced here. b5, my opponent plays rook e2 here. I play b4. He takes, and plays queen b3, attacking my pawn on b4. I play queen c5 now. And yeah, I'm also attacking I'm protecting the pawn, but also attacking the knight. Knight d3 here, and I play queen b5, and it kind of looks like I'm losing a pawn by force here with you know, knight takes or queen takes, but that doesn't work for now, because if queen takes, I pick up the knight, and if knight takes, I pick up the rook. So okay, this pawn is still taboo, but my opponent finds the correct move, rook c2, and here I pretty much have to trade here, otherwise my opponent just picks up the pawn on b4. Immediately I take, queen takes, and now I play 97. And here, honestly, I was a bit upset, not gonna lie, because this is, I mean, this is completely drawish. I mean, there's not many chances now to create you know, an advantage or to create problems. I mean, we're down to a completely equal endgame with queen and queen, queen and knight versus queen and knight. So yeah, I mean, my pawn is a little bit more far advanced, but I mean, I don't know if that's a plus or a minus for me, because although it gives me some more space on the queen side, it also becomes an easier target, you know, for his pieces. But okay, I mean, okay, 97. Here we were starting to get low on the clock. Low, I would say like 20 minutes. I guess I always had a bit more time than him, but yeah, nothing too special, I think. But okay, we were about like 20 minutes each, or maybe at like 10 minutes or 12, and I had still 20 or something. But yeah, you will definitely catch up in time in just a second, as you guys will see. So knight d7 here, b3, and honestly, I just play knight e5 because, I mean, this knight is very strong here, controlling c5, attacking b4, attacking e5. I have to trade it. I don't have really much to do with this knight here. So yeah, I just play knight e5. My opponent trades, and I take with the queen, and we have this endgame. Queen endgame. It's not every day that you see a queen endgame, and you know, it's always very nerve-wracking to play this. And yeah, let's see how this one went. So king f2, activating his king. I play queen d4 check. He plays king e2, and I guess you know, here at this point, I was still trying to win. And yeah, I will have to go all in and you know, try my best to calculate well and to complicate things, because I mean, it's easy to see that this pawn is gonna be a big weakness now in this queen endgame, because my opponent can always challenge my queen with queen c4, and if I trade queens, I'm losing, because his king gets to the pawn faster than mine, which is very inactive. And yeah, I can't trade queens, and I'll have to try to create some counterplay here. So yeah, I was definitely nervous about this position, because I didn't really know what was going on. So yeah, hard to calculate these queen endgames. Queen g1, infiltrating the back rank. Queen king d3 by my opponent. I go back to b6, a little bit of a weird move, but okay. Queen c4 here, and I play queen f2, attacking f3 and attacking h2. Here my opponent took on b4. I took on f3. King d4 here by my opponent. Queen f2 check. King c4, and here, you know, I didn't know if I should play queen takes on h2, if I should keep checking. I was really, you know, clueless, and we were starting to get lower and lower on the clock. I guess at this point we both had less than 10 minutes, I would say, and you know, pressure was starting to mount up. And yeah, I mean, although I wanted to win this game, I also didn't want to lose, you know. So Here the computer says that the best is to take, but yeah, I just thought that this was too risky, because this pawn just runs super fast, and I don't know if my pawns will be as fast, because they are still here, uh, very far from promotion. But okay, this didn't happen in the game. I gave a check on c2, my pawn went to d4. I went queen f2 back, repeating. My opponent doesn't want a repetition. He plays king c3, and this is actually a losing blunder, believe it or not. During the game, I didn't realize why this would be a losing blunder, but we will see why in just a second. So, okay, king c3 here. I play queen e1 check. My opponent goes to c4, and I mean, he just loses the pawn on e4 for no reason. I mean, I think my opponent just had really a brain fart, because, okay, we repeated this position here. He could have just gone to c4, and I don't know, here I would probably draw by repetition, because I didn't think I was winning at all or better. I thought that this would be very dangerous to allow. So I would probably end up repeating, and my opponent could have repeated, but maybe he just had a brain fart or something like that, because, I mean, he, instead of repeating, he allowed me to win this pawn. And now I'm winning, and actually it's very easy to see, and the computer is screaming, as you guys see, that it's a queen trade, and we will explore that later. But I want to show what happened in the game. In the game, I played queen b7 check. My opponent played queen a5. Here I would say that he had probably like 3 minutes on the clock, or 2 minutes, and I had like 5 minutes on the clock, something like that. And here, I was calculating this endgame after queen takes on b4 and king takes on b4, but here I didn't see a way to win. I thought that I was lost, because king f8, king c5 here, king e8, king c6, king d8, and I thought, okay, I'm just probably lost, because he just starts pushing his pawn, and there's nothing I can do. But this is so ridiculous. You guys already see it, that, bro, as soon as he takes on b4, I can just push e5, and if he tries to just queen his pawn, I mean, I queen first. Like, there's no way to stop this pawn, which is kind of ridiculous and super obvious to see. But during the game, I totally panicked, and I didn't realize that I could push this pawn. I genuinely didn't even, when I was calculating this king endgame, I literally just saw that his king would get somewhere here first, and he would block my king from going to b8, which is, I mean, it's kind of correct. Like, queen takes, king takes, as I saw, king f8, king c5, king e8, king c6, king d8, and he can just yeah, he can even go, technically he can even go king b7 and cut my king off that way, if we are talking about cutting off the kings. But the problem here is that I mean, if I push my pawn to e5, for example here, and my opponent tries to stop that pawn, like this, I always have f5. Yeah, and I totally missed this. Actually, funnily enough, here after king c4, I have to be somewhat precise. I can't push e4 because of g4, but if I went just f5, and yeah, here there's really nothing my opponent can do. he always has to keep despawning, like he always has to stop despawn, and he doesn't really have time to promote. Yeah, it's crazy because in the game I just repeated, and we agreed to a draw by repetition, which is crazy. Yeah, and I remember that as soon as I finished the game, players were watching because it was the last game of the tournament, and they just come up to me like, "What? That end game is winning. Why didn't you trade the queens and just push e5? E5, E4." And I was like, "No, I couldn't believe." I was like, "No, no, 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 e queens first, e queens first." No way. I was like, "No, e queens first." I was denying. I was in total denial, and my opponent also didn't realize that the queen endgame was winning at all, because he said, "No, no, he can't trade queens, because if he trades queen, I win. I just promote the pawn first." And this meant that I didn't get third place. uh Actually, I'll leave somewhere around here the rankings of the tournament. I ended up getting you know sixth place, which was definitely good, still good. And I still actually got a 50 euro prize, so very nice. And yeah, I mean, GG's. I can't really blame it on anything. My opponent made a huge blunder. He gave me a chance to win the game. I didn't take advantage of that big mistake. Just lack of skill, lack of composure and ability to understand what's going on. But yeah, it is what it is. We After this, I had a long break from tournaments, and I was also finishing my master thesis in my university. And yeah, next video I'll start you know showing you games and tournaments that I played this summer. And yeah, thank you for watching once again, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.